How's it going, y'all? Rowdy Riles back with another video, and today we are talking about which Spider-Man figure from Marvel Legends is the best. We've got a whole bunch. We're going to continue to get more. I did a video before with a couple of figures, but we've got a lot more Spider-Man figures now. A lot of them on the same body mold, but it doesn't matter. We can compare and contrast and all that stuff. So yeah, we're going to talk about which Spider-Man, in my opinion, it's evolved, it's changed over time, which Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man from Marvel Legends. So yeah, let's get into that. We're talking about Marvel Legends and Spider-Man. As far as Hasbro is concerned, you cannot start off without talking about the buck that everyone knows, the original Spider-Man body that Hasbro used to use all the time, the Pizza Spidey, which as you can see is right here with another one, the Ralph Spidey in the back. But the Pizza Spidey, the colors are all there, so you know he gets points for that. The lines are good. The spider on the front is really nice. The back as well, except for that hole there, which is unfortunate. He's got the butterfly joints. He's got the 90 degree at the shoulders. He's got the bicep cut and the double elbows. He's got, you know, a decent ab crunch down there. Weird waist cut that really messes with the proportions, and that's when you start to see the dated stuff on there. We do have a ball hinge and all that stuff. A thigh cut and double knees, of course. He can kick his own butt, but there's no boot cut on here. It's just painted on there. So Spidey really can't get down and dirty like he should. I mean, you can pose him up, sure, like it doesn't look terrible, but as far as like him standing when doing that kind of pose, forget about it, unless you like get these ancient rockers set just perfectly right for him to like stand there. But as far as figures go, for Spider-Man, this one is going to get the lowest grade, which is an F, because it's just outdated and old. Like back in the day it would have been a lot higher, but because we have what we have now, the Pizza Spidey body and all pinned older bucks that Hasbro likes to use over and over are very much outdated and no longer relevant or of any use to anyone or interest. So just phase these ones out. It's nostalgia. If you like it the best, then that's just your nostalgia glasses, because this is arguably, not even arguably, it is the worst of the current Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures as far as articulation and everything else goes. This head sculpt, though, goes on my retro Spider-Man, which we're going to be talking about that buck next, because it was the upgrade from this. On to the next one, as they say. We have our retro Spidey, which arguably has the best articulation, even over the Renew Your Vows or the Amazing Fantasy body, because look at those butterfly joints. They just go all the way back and all the way forward. There's no beating it. And we do have very nice forward and very nice back, as well as, of course, you know, double knees and elbows. He can kick his own butt. But we also get boot cut on our Spider-Man. It's a more buff, more 90s version, which is why I prefer to put the raft head on this body, because that's very 90s. This is a very buff, very big-eyed red and blue Spider-Man with darker blue, not super dark, but darker blue, so that you can get those black highlights in there for the comic book pages. So yeah, it's a very, as you can see, very well articulated, stands very well, great proportions for Spider-Man. So this one is going to get an A as far as grades go, maybe even an A+, just because of that classic spider, smaller spider logo in the front and that one in the back that is not separated or messed up by butterfly joints, which we'll get to later. But that retro Spidey is still very good, despite having the pins. If you really wanted to, and you know, painted the colors to match correctly, you could swap these legs and these arms for the Renew Your Vows one and have that toe articulation on here, but who cares when you have such a perfect figure already. And then of course we have Ben Reilly here. As you can see, I'm a big fan of head swaps. He's got the Renew Your Vows head on there, also on the retro buck, which has that perfect butterfly joint and nice articulation. And yeah, it is nice to have both of these figures on this body. I also have the symbiote Spider-Man on this body, which I didn't grab for the video. I should have, but it is probably the best version of Spider-Man all around, except for having pins. Like if it didn't have pins, it'd be over for even imports. It'd just be such a perfect version of Spider-Man, in my opinion. But on to the next one. Now, in my last Spider-Man video, I said I regretted, or after I regretted, that this was not my #1 Spider-Man body. It went to Renew Your Vows, which it still probably does, because the size of this is better for Spider-Man, but being that Marvel Legends is upscaled, that makes him slightly smaller than he should be, so it works perfectly for a teenage first appearance Spider-Man, which is why I have this retro carded swapped Spider Sense head going on there with the kind of younger Peter with his hair slicked back and kind of nerdy. He doesn't have his glasses on, but it does come with a glasses version of the head without the spider on that half. But, you know, he's a younger, smaller version of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's like 5'10", 5'11" max in the comic books, full grown. So I'd imagine he's like around somewhere like 5'7", 5'6" and a half, you know, when he's a younger teenager. So this works out quite perfectly for that. Let me grab the retro Spider-Man, because as you can see, he's like, you know, maybe closer to 5'8" as far as these figures are compared. And this one would be like a 5'11", 6 foot guy, which is okay for Spider-Man, a little bit tall. But, you know, this is a really good body. It's a really good version. It's pinless, which is the first pinless version of Spider-Man that we got as far as this video goes, because Renew Your Vows did release first. But you can see no pins, so we don't have that separation in color. We've got the nice black and red on there. This is the first release, so we don't have that blue spider on the back, which I'm kind of glad of. I didn't really want the blue spider, because this could work for any era of Spider-Man. In fact, I did have the Raft head on here for a while, just because I wanted a smaller Spider-Man. But I really feel like this retro carded Spider-Man works great for Marvel vs. Capcom, so it's like perfect for that. So here's a younger version of Spider-Man, and this is not the exact same body, but it's about the same height. So we'll talk about the Iron Spider really quick as well. It is one of my favorite suits from the comic books, despite the connotations where he got it and what it entails. But it's a really cool looking suit. It's got a sweet design. It has butterfly joints, pinless, all that good stuff, around the same size. They don't really share any of the same sculpt. Maybe these legs, the upper portion is the same, but down here it's different. They look like they could be the same, and with the arms, at least the biceps as well, no, those are different. But, you know, it's still a pinless, smaller version of Spider-Man, which just totally works. And it kind of throws off the scale when you have multiple versions of Spider-Man that are smaller and bigger and smaller and bigger. Like, this is an adult full-grown Spider-Man who's revealed his identity and all that stuff during Civil War. And this is the quote-unquote teenage version of Spider-Man, and he's slightly shorter, so it still works. But I feel like that means that this would be the perfect height for a Spider-Man figure, as opposed to this one, which is about a quarter of a head taller. So, you know, it's just really hard to get the perfect scale. They're pretty similar in height, actually. But yeah, that's a really cool figure. As far as this one goes, this gets an A+ as well. It's really great. Same with this guy. It's a great figure. His ankles are a little loose, unfortunately, and he does come with his Waldos. I just unplugged them for the sake of this video. Where's Waldo? There's Waldo's. Sorry. And lastly, we come to, of course, the Renew Your Vows buck, which I believe the only other Spider-Man on this body that I don't have is the VHS version of the symbiote suit with Carnage, the 2-pack. I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. But as you can see, we've got the Ben Reilly retro head sculpt on here because it matches in the red color, and it's the best version of Spider-Man's mask in my opinion. Those mid-sized eyes in the kind of Romita style, which is really great. The only problem with this one is the spider is humongous on his chest and even bigger on his back, which comes into that butterfly joint problem. Well, one of them, because as you can see, the paint kind of messes up there. And then the stupid butterfly joints don't even touch the inside of his torso, like on the retro carded buck. But we do have drop down hips. I forgot to mention that on the retro buck as well. But those are a lot looser. These ones are a lot tighter. They work a lot better. And we have pinless arms and legs, and also toe articulation. This is the only body Hasbro Marvel Legends has released so far with toe articulation, and they used it for Deadpool and Daredevil, I believe, so far, which makes them all the same height in the Marvel Legends scale, and Daredevil should be taller than Spider-Man, and so should Deadpool. So it's just kind of weird that they would do that. But it is what it is. You don't get the perfect scaling with Marvel Legends, but sometimes you do get the perfect Spider-Man. And as far as all these figures go, with, you know, the size and the scaling and lining up with other figures and not being too small or too big, I would still say that the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man is the best of the bunch. So it gets an A+++, and you also get, you know, Ben Reilly, the second best Spider-Man, obviously, because there's only 3 Peter Parker Spider-Man, and one of them is Kane, and they haven't made a figure of him yet. Hint, Hasbro. This isn't a Miles Morales video, which I do like Miles, but Ben Reilly's my boy. He has his last name as my first name, just spelled differently. And this is the sickest suit, and I was really glad to get him when I got him. So check out that video if you haven't seen it yet, the Scarlet Spider. And I just got the Beyond Spider suit as well, which is also Ben Reilly, and that's a whole comic book arc that I read, and it was interesting. And it left off somewhere kind of stupid, and I was like, well, and that's basically where Spider-Man is at right now, in a really stupid place. But we do get current figures sometimes, and we also get re-releases of older figures, which the oldest figure of this guy was on that Pizza Spidey body, which I didn't have that version of, so I was really glad to pick this guy up because he's just perfect with his little toe articulation and holsters. And this guy's not bad either with his big weird eyes. You can use it for head swaps or whatever. Makes a good Ultimate Spider-Man head in my opinion. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for all these different versions of Spider-Man that have been sitting on my floor for a couple weeks while I get time to do this video. So at the end of the day, we all have our different opinions about which Marvel Legends Spider-Man or which Spider-Man figure in general is the best. I mostly have Marvel Legends because they're cheaper, easier to get a hold of. As far as imports go, I would like to get some, like, you know, maybe Mofex or Mezco here or there. But, you know, it is what it is. We get what we get. I'm trying to avoid Hasbro as much as possible at this point, but Spider-Man, that's the main place I'm going to be able to get him. G.I. Joe, main place to get those. So, you know, I'm just going to be more selective about when I purchase for them, especially because of what they're doing to Power Rangers. But yeah, I just wanted to do this overview, talk about Spider-Man figures, get you guys' opinions in the comments down below. Do that. Like the video if you like this video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Check out my Patreon. It's $1 a month. So yeah, do all that stuff. I love you. I will see you next time, and bye-bye.